And welcome back, everyone, to Pokemon Team Videos. Today's Pokemon Team video comes to us from Devin Reyes, who asked the question, what is Mob Psycho 100's Pokemon Team? Now, to be fair, the character's actual name is Shigo Kageyama. Shigo Kageyama's Pokemon Team, but he is known by the fans and nicknamed in the show Mob. So we'll talk to him, we'll address him as Mob. Note that you keep asking for Mob Psycho content, Devin, and this was one that I was able to do because it's pretty basic, but you don't actually specify what content you want. You're not asking for a who would win, you're not asking for a what if, you're not asking for a Lantern Core, you're just asking, can you do Mob Psycho content? I'm like, I can, but you need to be a bit more specific, because unlike Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball, even Yu Yu Hakusho, and unlike a lot of those other anime, I don't read or watch Mob Psycho. So I can't just do something just because someone asked it. You need to be a bit more specific with your requests. This was a specific request, so I can do it. Now, that being said, despite the fact that I neither read nor watch Mob Psycho 100, that's the name of the full series, Mob Psycho 100, I do know a bit about the character. I have seen bits and pieces, clips here or there. I remember watching Death Bow when he was up against Tatsumaki from One Punch Man, so there was some however that correct or incorrect that information is, that's still some information that we're given about him. So I did go on to, obviously, to the wiki and see what I have to deal with. Now, obviously, the big selling point of Mob, and pretty much most of the characters in the Mob universe is, or at least the characters he goes up against, is that they are psychics, or espers as they're called. So you would think psychic-type Pokemon would be a big thing on this team. And fair enough, they are. They do make up the bulk of the team. In fact, let's get a couple of the obvious ones out of the way. Mob is pretty much the strongest psychic in his world. He's only got a couple real rivals, and even then, they're still not quite as strong as him, as far as I could tell. So I felt Mewtwo was just an appropriate Pokemon to have on here. It's among the strongest psychic types there are. It's one of the only Pokemon that has 2 Mega Evolutions. Amazed they didn't go Dynamax, honestly. But yes, Mewtwo makes 100% sense to have on the team. So that, and to be honest, that's the only clear-cut, obvious Pokemon, believe it or not. Those are one that I'm pretty sure everyone was going to say, well, what about Mewtwo? It's like, he's the strongest psychic. Yeah, that's the strongest psychic. It makes sense. I want to get the obvious out of the way. But one of the things that I think is very important to look at when you look at a character's Pokemon team is not just their abilities or anything like that. I literally could have just shoved an entire group of psychic Pokemon up this guy's butt for his team, and we would have been good. But that's not fun, and honestly, we wouldn't have been good, because the thing about psychic-type Pokemon that I think gets overlooked is the fact that the majority of a good chunk of them, at least half of them, are highly intelligent because they have psychic abilities. Mob, though, after reading up his biography and all that, isn't actually that smart. He's not like a super genius. He's not, he doesn't have the best grades in the world. He's also not very physically able either. They do say he improved his physical capabilities, but he's still below average for someone of his body type. So that actually gave me something to work with a bit more for a variety on the team. So right out the gate then, we go Magikarp. Oh yeah, Carp. Now, why Magikarp? Well, Magikarp is often considered one of, if not the weakest Pokemon there is. And yeah, people use Focus Sash and weird combos involving Magikarp to be like Arceus and other teams all the time. But yeah, because Magikarp's so weak and below even the average for a base level Pokemon, it made sense that someone like Mob, who is below average physically for someone in his world, could have a Magikarp, particularly when we know the potential Magikarp paths for turning into Gyarados. So it actually makes sense to me why he would have something like a Magikarp on his team. If these guys were trainers, that would probably be his first Pokemon ever, a Magikarp. But he treated kindly, it'd be his best friend, all that. There is also another weaker side Pokemon, but this is much different. Now, one of the abilities that Mob has is chlorokinesis, the ability to actually manipulate and control the growth of plant life. Now, I'm like, okay, a psychic grass type, that's easy. Is it easy, though? Because, there's only 4 psychic grass... Yeah, there's only 4 psychic grass type Pokemon out there. Yeah, Calyrex, I'm like, well, Calyrex might be even a little too powerful in this case. And there's nothing really chlorokinesis about it. Though most plant types seem to be able to, plant type Pokemon, grass Pokemon seem to manipulate plants in some level. Well, then there's Execute and Executor. Well, I mean, the giant palm trees, but, well, one's like a weird group of eggs and the other's a palm tree. I suppose, well, what about Celebi? I've seen Celebi use, like, some stuff in the movies, and I'm just thinking, like, well, but Celebi's shtick is time travel, and even Mob can't do that. So I had to kind of go, okay, let's branch out, because I do want to use the chlorokinesis as a Pokemon member. Okay, so really, I can pick just about, and I'm like trying to look up for a specific Pokemon that can use like strong chlorokinesis. I know that I couldn't remember. I think it was like Meganium, whose breath could like refresh plants. I couldn't find it. So ultimately, okay, do I remember anything specific from the show or like that bit on Death Battle? And I realized, oh yeah, there was that giant broccoli he grew. Do we have a broccoli Pokemon? And weirdly enough, even though it's not truly broccoli, I think it's closer to like a clover. Pansage. I mean, yeah, it's a little broccoli monkey. And he grew a giant piece of broccoli, and it will evolve into a bigger piece of broccoli. Granted, it looks more like some sort of Elvis leprechaun monkey thing, but still, it got like a broccoli on its head. So, and yeah, it looks a bit more like a tree admittedly, but it's as close as I can find a broccoli. Honestly, I kind of just want something to fit in that parameter of the chlorokinesis. To be honest, you could throw just about any grass type in there that can manipulate plants. This is just the one I'm like, kind of looks like broccoli. I remember the broccoli scene. Let's move on. So yeah. So that leads us now to the remaining three. Now, the remaining three are psychic types. They all are psychic types. And I think they all represent a different aspect of Mob. So right from the gate, we got Gardevoir. Gardevoir represents a bit more of the kinder aspects of Mob. Mob does not like to use his ability, like to hurt people at all. And Gardevoir, even though it's a very powerful Pokemon, even creating black holes, it's a very kind Pokemon too. So I like the idea of Gardevoir being on this team. Plus, the Fairy type gives it a bit of a wild card effect. Whoa. 1 second. There we go. Next on the list in terms of Pokemon that would, I think, mesh well on the Psychic type side of his team is Reuniklus. Now, Reuniklus is very interesting. I've always loved, I think when I first played White, because I have the white version, my sister got the black version, I got Reuniklus because I really like the design of this thing. Kind of like this weird body wrapped in a cell membrane, psychic energy. I just like its design. I find a lot of people are actually big fans of Reuniklus. And deservedly so. It's a cool Pokemon. And it's a pretty decent Pokemon, too. But it's also a Pokemon that I think works a bit better for Mob, because Mob tends to put like psychic barriers up to protect himself, because obviously he has no physical stats to speak of. So I like the idea of this guy being the representation of Mob's shielding of himself. There's also the mental shielding as well that you could make a reference to. But now on to the final Pokemon. So we have Mewtwo to represent his sheer power. We have Magikarp to represent that physically. He's not a very strong individual. He's actually very weak physically. Pansage to represent his chlorokinesis. We have Gardevoir to represent the kinder aspects of his psychic capabilities, because he goes into different modes based on his personality, and Gardevoir could easily represent that. Reuniklus to represent the psychic shielding he has. But then the final Pokemon, I'm like, I know there's a Pokemon that kind of represents something very, very specific about this character. I'm like, which one was it again? And I'm just going through there. I'm like, is this one? Oh, wait, what about that? And then I was like, oh, wait. Is it this one? Let me just read it. I'll check its pre-evolution first. That was it. Esper. Esper have immense psychic power, but they can't control it very well. Now, obviously, Mob learned to control his a bit better as the series went on, though I don't think he ever gained 100% control over it. But the fact of the matter is because of all the potential that's in Esper and what it can do, but the lack of control it has, plus the fact that it's pretty much a baby Pokemon, more or less. It's a base form Pokemon. Really lends itself to having itself be like one of the prime Pokemon on Mob's team. Like if Mob were starting out as a early trainer going out to take on the Pokemon League, I imagine his first two Pokemon, like his starter Pokemon might have been Esper, quite frankly, and then he would have caught a Magikarp, and then he would have been trying his darndest and hootenest, would have caught Pansage maybe, and they would have been all like, we're on the road to Viridian City, but whatever. But yeah, I think Esper is actually a very good candidate for Mob, ultimately. But that is my personal opinion on what Mob Psycho, or Mob's Pokemon team would be. Ultimately, though, that is just my opinion. What do you think? Do you agree with this list? Or do you agree with this team? Do you disagree with this team? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, who wants to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know the review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you folks next time. Have a good one.